They will pave it now. That'd be cool if that's done nice and pretty.
Yeah, I'm thinking that, there's some responsibility. Yes, push it right here fast. I was just very curious about the fact that he didn't do some help right with you.
Oh, it's okay. No, I'm good. Thank you, Dave.
Sure.
Thank you for getting me.
That's all I can do, you put everything back and forth. Teachers.
I was getting ready. That's right, that's right.
Jealousy will get them nowhere. Jealous people get them nowhere. I'm not ready, but.
That's right. Oh, okay.
I think that's a special when they go
Somebody else?
No, you don't have to, right there.
Tracy, that's her.
Oh, yeah. But he says,
Oh, ready?
yes, sir, we are ready. Oh, there's one. Oh, wow.
Good afternoon, everyone. At this time, I'd like to call the Madison County Planning Commission public hearing to order. If everyone will please stand for a word of prayer. I've asked Mr. Bradley to say a prayer tonight.
Oh, gracious Father, bless us all today, O Lord, as we travel here tonight to these meetings. And bless us all going home, O Lord, keep us safe. Spread your wings amongst each one of us and keep us safe. We bless this country, this world, that you look after each one of us. Lord, and just be with us tonight as we do business. In your name, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Bradley.
Good.
Hello, my sir.
Good evening,
Welcome.
Thank
This time, I want to take a moment for the Planning Commission to introduce themselves and the district that they represent before we get into our order of business tonight. Starting on my left, Mr. Gandy.
Good evening, Bruce Gandy, District 5.
Good evening, Cynthia Fortson, elected by the board of, PZ.
Kenneth Bradley, District 1.
Canola Scott, Chairman, appointed by the Chairman of the Board of Commissioners. Lee Mitchell, District 2.
And William Smith, District 4.
And of course,
Tracy Patrick, Bowman Administrator.
and our attorney.
Good evening.
As the first order of business this evening, I am required to read a few statements regarding the zoning process. Should you have any questions after I finish, please raise your hand and I will try to answer them. Zoning directly affects private property rights. These include the rights of property owners to enjoyment and the use of their property, and the right of adjacent property owners and general public not to be unreasonably harmed by specific land use. The recommendations made by the Planning and Zoning Commission this evening will be based on provisions of the Georgia Zoning Procedure Act, the Madison County Zoning Ordinance, the Comprehensive Plan for the land use of Madison County, and information that is presented at this hearing tonight. Order of business. As an order of business tonight, first I will introduce the application, and then the zoning administrator will give her comments. Then the applicant or their authorized agent will come forward, state the name and address, and sign in. then state the reason for their request. You may provide any other information or documentation supporting the application. Next, the planning and zoning members will have the opportunity to ask applicant questions to clarify their understanding of the issue relating to the application. Afterwards, I will open the floor for public comment in support of or in opposition to the request. We're required by law to allow at least 10 minutes on each side for public comment. The Madison County Planning and Zoning is a recommending board only, consisting of concerned citizens who are appointed to a 4-year term by county commissioners. We are a fact-finding body that visits the property under consideration, review the information associated with the application, consider public comment raised during the public hearing, and within the guidelines of the comprehensive plan and other use ordinances, make recommendations to the Board of Commissioners regarding these applications. The final binding decision on each request will be made by the Madison County Board of Commissioners at its meeting here on Monday night. I believe that's March the 7th. Is that right? March
the 3rd. I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm working with 4 months right now in my head with my raise the 6th. Yes.
March 6th. I'm sorry. Okay. Apologize for that. The forum for appealing the decision of the Board of Commissioners is the Superior Court of Madison County. After your application has been heard, you're free to leave, but you're welcome to stay if you wish. I emphasize that every applicant or their representative is not required to be present at the second public hearing at the Commissioners meeting on March the 6th. I will present the application to the Board of Commissioners. If, after I have made the presentation, the applicant feels that there is some information left out or something that you may like to add, please feel free to do so at that time. In addition, any other persons supporting or opposing the request should also be present at the second hearing. With that, we'll go into our order of business tonight to consider zoning applications for February 21st, 2023 public hearing. And I'll ask our zoning administrator to bring forth her first applicant and make her comments.
Okay, first up, we have a conditional use request for Philip Smith. He is requesting a conditional use to bring his existing non-conforming private airstrip into compliance with current zoning regulations. The property is located at 727 Hannah Creek Church Road in Royston on map 75, parcel 6 in District 4.
Okay, since there's 2 of them, do we want to take both at the same time, or?
We could, we may need to keep it as separate motions since it's 2 different applications, but I can go ahead and read the other.
If you would, please.
Okay. The second for Mr. Smith is he is requesting a variance for his existing non-conforming private airstrip because it cannot meet the 1,000-foot setback from one dwelling other than his own. There is a 99-foot deficit, and of course it's located at the same address.
All right, Ms. Smith, you want to come forward and tell us your request?
Ms. Tracy, thank you. Gentlemen, ladies, good evening. My name is Phil Smith, 727 Hannah Creek Church Road, Royston. I'm requesting a conditional use permit to be able to fly my small airplane off my farm. This has been, we're going to go through the details on the application process. And we can go ahead and starting with the first slide, please.
Okay.
First off, I do want to make this for the public record. I want to make a public apology to my neighbors and to my county because I've been flying for a couple of years without even knowing that I needed a conditional use permit. I just didn't know. And as soon as I found out, I stopped completely. I have not been off the ground since April of last year, almost a full year ago, until we can get through this entire process. So to everybody, my neighbors, all of you, I'm sorry that I didn't know that. Next slide, please. Conditional use, we're going to go through this really quick. I am in the zoned A1. My property is 82 acres, so we'll meet the minimum requirement of 50 acres for this. Private airstrip is one of the conditional uses that is on those 4 A1 properties. The specific details are in section 918, private airstrips, 50 acres or greater. We got that. The site plan, we're going to go over that in just a minute in some detail. And that's going to include some additional information that I have all on that site plan for you. 1,000 feet from any residence, this is the one that I cannot meet, as we'll see. I physically cannot move the hayfield any farther down the hillside because it would be down the hillside, it just wouldn't work. Proper documentation with the FAA, we're going to go through that. I did go through the formal procedure. I have been designated as a private airstrip with the FAA, so that's taken care of. Then the last three are pretty much gimmies. No more than 3 aircraft should be used on station or operated from. I'm never going to afford 3 airplanes, so we don't have to worry about that one. More than 2 engines, 6 passengers, helicopter, no jets. Nothing happened. Private use only, definitely not for organized aviation events. This is something I want to be very explicit about. I really don't want anybody else attempting to land in my place or take off. I don't want the liability of that. So it's not going to be some kind of circus show. It's not going to be barnstormers and big hoorahs on the weekend, nothing like that. I mean, I'm a private person and I want my privacy. And last thing is daytime takeoff and landing only. That's also a given with the restrictions on my pilot's license. So I think I meet all of those requirements. This is my farm. This is looking down into my place from my front gate on Hannah Creek Church Road. This last summer's June hay cutting. The long strip that you see that's left to right in front of my hay barns, that's where I land my airplane. Next, please. And before I get any further, so why in the world am I flying an airplane? Which I think is a valid question because a lot of people don't. I know you've seen this before. It's a very famous poem. The last 3 lines really kind of sums up how I really honestly feel. The last one in particular, I'm going to put out my hand and touch the face of God. And that's really what I feel when I'm up there, and it's a beautiful day and I'm flying. And when I'm up in the air, all my troubles on the ground stay on the ground behind me for 45 minutes or whatever. It's just a wonderful place to be. That's why I fly. I just fly for fun. So what's going on? Who am I? What's going on? I do have a sport pilot license. I got that at Gainesville at the Lanier Flight School 2.5 years ago. 2 years ago now. A sport pilot license is one step down from a private pilot license. It's got significant restrictions. I can't fly more than myself and a passenger. I'm going to go over those in details, but it's basically the training wheels of the official FAA pilot's license. But I do have it. I built my own airplane. That's what I'm flying. Also, if I like to fly, why don't I go to an airport? Well, it's because I can't. There are no hangars anywhere around, anywhere to be had. There's a nationwide shortage. Federal government is starting to put money into that, but it's going to be 2 years out. Everything is close to me. 18A, which is the one I go to the most often up here in Cannon. They're not even building this. At least a 2-year waiting list for anything up there. Jackson County, he's already taken up with folks coming out of Gainesville because they got big airplanes, and he just put up some hangars, or he's finishing up hangars. And Athens, I'm not allowed to fly into. My license doesn't allow me to fly into towered airport airspace, which is Athens. And lastly, Elberton, it's a long way for me, and I would have to build my own structure and lease the dirt from them. I have no idea how that would work, but honestly, I don't need to be building a big hangar somewhere else that's not on my own property. Here's my typical flight. This is screen capture from a piece of flight software that I use. The dot is my farm. I take off, go north around Royston and Franklin Springs, and I go to Franklin County and get in the pattern, and I do pattern work mostly. I fly just to practice my landings, just proficiency. practice. This is about a 45-minute flight. Go up there, get in the pattern, and making left turns, getting in and landing. At one point, you can see I circled out to the right because there was other traffic in the pattern, so I gave them space. They could get in and land. So I'm an official legal pilot, an official legal plane, not talking on the radio, talking to everybody else, and not diving in front of people, sharing your space. And then I come home, I get in, and I slam dunk it, I get down on the ground. Go ahead. So the next few slides, these are images from Q Public. We can all get these fairly easily. There's Madison County. The little blue rectangle is my farm up in the north end of the county, District 4. Getting a little bit closer in, I'm southwest of Royston, Georgia, about 5 miles outside of Royston. These are the property boundaries around me. As you can see, I'm very close to the edge of Franklin County. And you can also see here, so much of the land around me is forested, heavily forested, not very densely populated, and the river, I don't know if you can make out the river in here, but it's also, there's a lot of terrain in my area. It's not very flat ground like elsewhere in the county. There's my farm as we zoom in. As you can see, 2/3 of my farm is also forested, and that's because those are all the slopes. Some of that was just hardwoods when I bought the place 30-something years ago. The rest of it is planted pines that I put in. And I planted them because the soils are so steep, the hillsides are so steep that I don't need to have a tractor on ever. So everything that is open can be open. It's flat-ish. Everything else is very steep. And here's the topography of it. As you can see from my gate at the right, where it says Hannah's Creek, about that S in Hannah's is where my gate is. My property goes to where that little pond is down below my property, and there's 170 feet of elevation on my place. I've got very, very little flat land. And as you can see, I've pushed everything as far down away from the neighbors as I possibly can. So that's my big constraint, is that I just can't get on a hillside any farther. Unfortunately, that means I need to ask for this variance, the distance variance. Here's the site plan. I'll go over this in kind of some detail. A couple of layers here. First of all, the black boundaries are my plat. It's on file here with the county from when I bought the place. Blue is Q Public. The property boundaries actually match up pretty well. Sometimes they don't. In some properties, this is pretty good. And the photograph underneath it is the Q Public image. Starting at the very center, where it says shop, there's a star there. It says runways. That star is the physical location of my airstrip on the map, according to the FAA. That's how they define it. Moving to the left, there's my hay barn, my hangar, my shop, and my house. The dotted line is my driveway going down through my place to my shop. Farther to the left, the next property to 10 o'clock or so. It's a big 50-acre property. The blue is the floodplain for Hannah Creek. So that's even lower than anything on my property. So there's a lot of terrain around there. The five structures there, 3 of them are they're manufactured homes. They are in not good condition. 2 of them look like they've been used for sleeping residences or a hunt club. The property is for sale. I did make an offer on it in December. I was turned down on my offer, but I walked the property very, very carefully. At the top, the purple squiggly line is the power line. That's one of the things that has to be on the site plan, so there it is. Hannah Creek is up and down to the right. The kennel at about 1 o'clock from the center is the property that I'm not meeting the setback for. Neighbors at about 1:30 or so, honest to goodness, I've never met them. I mean, they're just down the street, but we've just never met. I'm sure we passed on the road a few times, but honestly, I don't know who they are. Across the street from me, the trailer there is not occupied. Power's been off for about 3 years now. Belongs to Darrell Brown. And then to the 4 o'clock position, 4:30 position, there's a Hannah Creek Church, and as you can see, I'm well distant from the church. Other than that, everything around me is just either hay fields or cow fields, or it's forest. That's all there is out there. Thank you. So moving on to the paperwork from the FAA, this is part of the application. There was wads of paper. I think you all have some of that paper in your hand. I did get approved. I'm listed as Golf Echo 773. That's the official designation for the FAA. Go ahead. The official master record that's on file. I've got copies of that if anybody wants to go through the details, but it's kind of mind-numbing. When I was signing this and sending back in, I explicitly asked, please don't chart this, don't put it on the chart, because I don't want people coming bopping in and landing in my place just for fun, because I got nothing else to do. And they charted it. So it's there, yeah, they did anyway, I don't know what happened there. That's what it looks like. It's a private airstrip. It's very explicitly listed as private in the rule of thumb. When you're flying around in a small airplane, you don't land on private airstrips without explicit permission from the owner or the operator. You can land as an emergency. I mean, that's probably good, but anybody who lands without my permission basically has the same rights as a trespasser, is the way the law stands right now. So I don't want people on my property. Okay. This is the dog kennel. This is the place I cannot quite meet the setback for. Go ahead. The hedgerow between my property and them is thick. It's very thick. It's a very effective vegetative barrier. About 10 feet wide at the front, 40 or 50 feet wide as you go farther back down my property. It's thick, cedars, greenbrier, privet. I mean, I can't walk in it. It's that thick. I don't think we could get it any thicker if we tried to, but that is already in place. This is the trailer across the street from Darrell Brown. Go ahead. And when I was flying, I was always trying to be a good neighbor. I was very conscious about the fact that it's an airplane, and it's not the same as driving a golf cart around. There's the church there. I always check if the church is not in session before I even begin to crank up. If they're in session, I'm not flying. That's just, even if the weather is absolutely perfect, just in that respect. Sunday mornings in general, never before 9 a.m. That's just kind of a rule of thumb for general aviation people. An important thing is I don't loiter in the area. I don't buzz around the farm like some little dragonfly making noise and racket and get out. I get up off the ground and I get away and get away from the local area. I've never had any complaints. I've talked to a number of people, talked to some folks that were buying hay from me this fall. Stay at altitude. I mean, I stay up high 2,000 feet or so above the ground, and that minimizes the noise. First of all, it's much safer to be up higher in the air in case there's an engine failure or some kind of problem. And second of all, I just don't want to be obnoxious to people. And lastly, daylight, light wind, fair weather. This is strictly a pretty weather kind of a thing. I'm not punching in and out at night. I'm not going in through bad weather because I've got to get to some meeting at the office somewhere. I don't do any of that. Go ahead. Very quickly, Code of Federal Regulations, Part 61. These are my personal pilot's license limitations. As you can see, they're extremely restrictive. Minimum visibility, for example, 3 statute miles. I'm sorry, I don't know whether it's only 3 statute miles. I need 10 miles. I want to see what's going on because I need to see where I am, if there's anybody else around. I am fairly well equipped with modern equipment that is used to detect other airplanes. It's called ADS-B in-out. My electronics and everything are up to date, so I'm very aware of other traffic, but I'm still extremely safe, extremely cautious when I'm up in the air. And the biggest thing here is no compensation or hire. I just can't, this is not a business operation. I'm not crop dusting, I'm not toting banners, I'm not trying to make a buck on this. It's just purely for fun. Go ahead. And CFR Part 91, these are minimum safe altitudes. This is generally for general aviation, not just for my license. And the biggest thing here is the FAA is saying stay 500 feet away from everything all the time, unless you need to be landing. So that's the FAA's, that's their working limits. This is strictly a wheeled airplane. It's not a float airplane, so I'm not going to be going up to Lake Hartwell and trying to do any water landings, anything like that. It's strictly get up off my hayfield, go do some landings, and come home. Or sometimes I'll fly over to Elberton just to see what there is to see today, just for fun. Or sometimes I'll fly up to Lake Hartwell because that's the prettiest flight I got. Okay. So this is why I'm requesting a variance for that setback to go from 1,000 feet to 901 feet. I think I meet all the other requirements for this conditional use, and personally, I cannot physically move any further down. No, I just can't. I'm not going to be constructing anything. It's still a hayfield. I'm not going to bring in a pan and start scraping out huge runways and doing all kinds of earth moving. That's not going to happen. It's a hayfield. I cut hay off of it, and sometimes I'll launch, sometimes I land. So that's my request. At this point, I'm very happy to take any questions that you may have.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Sir.
Bring it back to the board now. Do you have any questions of Mr. Smith before we open up public hearing?
My question for you, Mr. Smith, attorney, I think, did we discuss this, if he's granted this conditional use, does it go along with the property?
It does,
It
yes.
does.
If I may, I noticed that you specifically did not request permission to have a helicopter report or airplane report there.
Very specifically not.
Although it's located in our conditional uses.
I honestly don't foresee any use for a helicopter in that area. For one thing, it's not really close to anywhere that will come into the helicopter and then get a car and drive somewhere, because it's 6 miles to anywhere from where I'm at. It's just not central to that. I could see perhaps that somewhere in the south side of Madison County, where we're going to have a lot of people coming in and out, business is going to grow, and we're going to need, that kind of mobility in the future, but that's definitely not what this is for.
Just a question?
Would
Go ahead.
this I'm not sure, because I don't know if this is really contemplated in the FAA, because I didn't see a block for it. What about drones?
There's a certain set of rules. It is Part 115, I believe. Maybe Part 117, that has come on board that very explicitly licenses drones. So one of the biggest limitations is if a drone is over 50 grams, which is a small drone, then you have to get a license. You actually have to go through the FAA and go through training, and you get a license, carry a card, you stick a sticker on your drone so they can track it. There's no automatic tracking of where it is in the air by contraptions. You have to
if I may, my brother was in the process of following that certification, so it's interesting.
As a matter of fact, I did get my drone license last fall. This is kind of a matter of interest because my neighbor's got one, and I said, you know what, I can probably do that. And it's interesting to take pictures, and so I was taking pictures of my farm when the color was changing. But you're not allowed to fly over 400 feet. That's a huge limitation. You're not allowed to fly out of line of sight. So I can't be sitting in my place and flying it halfway to Danielsville. It's not allowed. Those are the federal rules.
Well, I appreciate your patience in answering those questions. I do have to point out, I'm looking at the topography there, I was amazed. Did you own that land, or how did you acquire that? But I'm saying it's laid out pretty well for landing strip on top of that farm.
Thank you for looking at it. 34 years ago, I had just finished helping my neighbor who was on the next ridge back from, if you get that picture where the hay bales were, my property goes to where the hay fields were, then the barn's down below that, down the creek, and then back up the other side, a good half mile from where that picture was taken. My neighbors, we were all still at the University of Georgia at that point. They built a house up there, and I spent the summer helping them build their house while I was in graduate school. And they knew I wanted to live up here. I was living in Oconee County at the time. And I was looking around at some other properties, and they called me up one day and said, there's a for sale sign out there. You might want to look at it. And we got it. And so I managed to make all my mortgage payments, and I didn't let it go. So then I just found it on the market.
Anyone else? Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Thank you. Thank you all.
We will now open up the public hearing for Mr. Smith's request. Is there anyone here that wants to speak in favor of Mr. Smith's request? Anyone here wants to speak in favor of it? Hearing none, is there anyone here who wants to speak in opposition? Anyone here wants to speak in opposition? Hearing none, I'll bring it back to the board. And entertain a motion, and we'll take these in two separate motions. Motion one, requesting the conditional use for Mr. Smith to be in compliance with cover regulations.
I'll make a motion that we approve his conditional use.
Second. Okay, we got a motion by Mr. Smith and a second by Lee that, to approve the conditional use. Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
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 All right, number one is approved. Now I will open the floor for a motion to, approve or disapprove the second request, for a variance for the 1,000-foot setback. I believe he's 90 feet, 99 feet out of, compliance. I get a motion, I'll second.
I'll make that motion to request a variance from 99 feet for the setback.
I'll second.
Okay, got a motion by Kenneth and a second by William that we approve, the variance for this setback. Cynthia?
Oh, yes.
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 All right, both have passed. Mr. Smith, you have the approval from this board. It will go before the Board of Commissioners on March the 6th. You're welcome to come for that second hearing. You don't have to be here, but I recommend that you do. All right, Ms. Tracy, we'll move to our second,
Okay,
our third one. I'm
third
sorry.
one, the rezone request for Randy Moss. He is requesting to rezone his 6.47 acre property from A2 to AR to bring the lawfully non-conforming property into compliance with current zoning regulations and to allow an existing home to remain on the property as an accessory dwelling unit. The property is located at 1006 Winds Lake Road in Comer on map 80, parcel 62 in District A. And I do not see him in attendance.
Mr. Moss, anywhere else?
I did give, his number a call before the meeting, and I have not heard back, so.
Well, one of the rules is if you don't attend the first, public hearing, then this request, I guess is withdrawn.
Original can't be reapplied for 6 months.
All right. Moving on to number 4.
Okay. Next up, we are going to consider a variance request for Jerry and Amy McEachin. They are requesting a variance to allow a roof cupola to be erected on an event hall that will exceed the maximum building height requirement of 35 feet by approximately 6 to 8 feet. The property is located at 0 Highway 29 South in Danielsville on map 54, parcel 33 in District 2.
All right, McKitchen, want to speak to us and tell us what you want?
And he
We
has,
kind of understand, but.
he has a slide that he wants to show as well.
Okay, that's fine.
We don't have a pretty presentation like we had when she was up there. You're stuck with me.
Okay.
You're going to get good at this.
I know, right? This is my first time.
You're going to get good at it.
Okay, now I'm showing 3 or 4 things. Which one would you
You do the thumbnail, it'd be easy.
that one here?
Maybe that's more, oh, well, I can show them that one next.
Okay, well, what was you thinking? Oh, that, okay.
Hope your resolution will be good on that.
Okay. See, where is that? Okay. Let's talk about Giving me trouble.
You may just need to pull it over to another screen, like pull it off the.
Under your mouse.
Okay. Okay, here we go, I got traction now.
don't know if y'all
Well, if
remember.
you're not able to put it up, just tell us what you need.
Well, basically, everything, the barn looks like what was in our package the last time, the artist rendering, or it's going to look like that. But it's going back and forth with the steel engineers and all those guys. It ended up coming up to 35 feet dead at the peak. So since we were there and the code says 35 feet, talked with Christopher and he said it's just best to go ahead and apply for this to keep it legal 100% if y'all approved it. And so the cupola, I know the reason it's 6 to 8 feet is I don't know exactly.
I can flip this around for you.
Okay, all right, that's good. Yeah,
Don't know.
we see that.
Don't know exactly how tall that will be just yet, because what will happen is, hopefully at the end of March, we'll get the steel put up, early, or middle of April at the latest. Then we'll get a picture of the building, and then I'll design how big that's gonna be. But I can't imagine it being much higher than even 5 or 6 feet, but I don't wanna have some leeway, just so I didn't end up doing something bigger and still go against what y'all agreed to let me do. So, if you only show them the weather vane picture,
Okay.
that's just a drawing from the computer, the little pig thing. You'll find there's a couple of guys that do, laser cutting steel down here. So I'll get them to laser cut that and weld the wings on it and put that on top of the cupola, so.
You guys, I'm sorry.
Well, I'm pretty sure that we're not in a, we don't have too many, it's gonna be too high for any kind of planes or that sort, so.
No, it's strikingly, visual.
Yeah, we want to make it look nice, so, I mean, it's a wedding venue, so we want it pretty for everybody to come there and make it a nice place. We were designing all the roads and everything going in and out, so it's just nice, because we're trying to make it feel as much like you're in another place, not in a city environment. But it's cool that we're near a city, because there'll be a lot of resources available to people that are coming to visit us. But it's nice that there's a lot of trees around and all that, so you kind of are in your own little world kind of a thing. If you can imagine, when you go to Disney or whatever, and you top a hill or go somewhere, there's a whole new place around. That's kind of what we're trying to do. Just don't have Disney's money, but this is the budget or their training. But we're doing pretty good. So,
Mr. Chairman, would it be appropriate to ask a few questions?
Sure.
At this
We're
point,
gonna have-
making this
Before we-
saving time.
Yes,
Is the cupola functional at all, or is it mostly just to give it that one effect?
just this thing, I'll put a light in it. Little windows up top. We're gonna have big doors on the sides and a big door on the front, and a really big fan that's gonna keep all the air circulating. So, because we won't have animals, there's not really a need to ventilate like that. But so it's gonna be, and there'll actually be air inside the big room too. So it'll be nice and comfortable for people in there.
Yeah, my question is kind of a follow-up or similar to that. There's not gonna be like a viewing deck or anything like that. It's gonna be in that part of the, perfect.
No, the only reason is, for me, I don't know if y'all remember before, but we were in the inflatable business for 20 years, in jumpers. And we have a building like this similar now that we blew things up in. And so since we're a party venue, we wanted a high ceiling so people could put an inflatable in there if they wanted to, for rain or whatever purpose. And plus, I even learned in the research for this, apparently some folks like to have elephants at their wedding.
Wow.
I thought that was pretty cool, but the door won't be big enough for a big elephant, but a little elephant can come in. So.
We're not planning on having elephants on our property.
No, I just thought that was cool. So it's, I think it was Indian cultures. They sometimes, if the ceiling's high enough, they'll bring in an elephant because it's part of their ritual that they do. And oh, that's cool. Yeah.
But to answer your question, no, we're not having anybody in the cupola. That was the question. No, that was the question. You went to elephant.
I appreciate the
I know your land is both up and down, right? Is it gonna be in the downward, or is it gonna sit up on a hill or something?
It'll be up on the high part, I guess. The top of the hill is going to come down a few feet to make for an area, you know, so it'll be probably the highest point, but, we're still below the trees in some cases and above some of the trees in other cases. But it's kind of, I don't know, there's some 7 or 8 foot tall trees.
So it'll be hitting the top of the tree. So you're saying you could see it at the top of the tree?
Well, not the bigger trees, no.
No, yeah.
But, some of the smaller ones that are not that old, you could see it above that, but, I don't know if you could even see it from the road though, honestly.
Yes, and I got more questions for Mike than anything. If we ask for, I know he's asking for variance, do we set a limit on the variance, how high it goes?
Yeah, I think what he's asking probably is a variance up to 8 feet.
Up to 8 feet, okay, I didn't know if we, just had a variance. You want maximum of 8 feet then?
Yeah, I can't imagine they go any higher than that. And if y'all say 8 feet, then I'll make sure we hit that or lower, for sure.
It's
So
basically just gonna be a
43
decorative.
feet max.
Right.
It's just
43
a
feet.
decorative piece, that's all.
Okay.
I don't think the thing will spin, so, what do you call it? So when.
Well, I mean, I'll point it actually north and south,
Weather
east and
bank.
west, and that'll be fixed. And I'll probably just weld it big so you can kind of see it, and get the full effect of the wings and all.
Yeah, I'm not sure I don't think the weather bank, actually, I was looking at the definition of height of building, and it says the vertical distance to the highest point of the roof for flat roofs, to the deck line of mansard roofs, and to the average height between the eaves and the ridge for gable, hip, and gambrel roofs measured from the grade. So I'm not even sure the cupola counts, but certainly the weather bank does.
Okay, any further questions?
Also, the cupola, and then the weather vane's gonna be higher than, it's gonna be another, so you're saying both the cupola and the weather vane are gonna be, you want 8 feet?
The weather vane may go a little above that possibly.
But the weather bank is not part of your definition of building
Oh.
height, you know, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry about that.
Weather vane's not being considered in the height aspects.
But it'll, I just can't imagine anything taller than that, just for the sake of aesthetics. Because I don't want to be weird looking. Because we're not a church, so we don't need a big, cool steeple. We just need a nice little decorative effect on the top.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
All right, we will now open up the public hearing portion of this. If anybody here wants to speak for this variance? Anyone wants to speak for? Not, is there anyone wants to speak in opposition? Anyone want to speak in opposition? Hearing none, we'll bring it back to the board, and we will entertain a motion.
I make a motion that, this recommendation be approved with condition that the cupola not be greater than 8.
Well, the variance be 8 feet in addition to the maximum building height.
And I'm sorry, Mike, with the condition that the variance,
It's 8 feet in addition to the maximum building height,
okay.
which is 35, so that's 43, what the chairman says.
You get a second?
I'll second.
Okay. A motion by Cynthia, a second by Lee, that, the request for the variance be allowed. We'll start with Ken.
Yes.
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 Okay. This is approved. You can go up at the second hearing if you desire. It's not mandatory, but there may be something that I can't answer, so, we recommend that you do. Okay? Thank you so much. All right, Ms. Presley?
Okay. And next up is, a request from Dennis Slant. You need your thing back up. Here we go. Okay, the next up is Dennis Slant, applicant for his brother, David Slant. is requesting to rezone a 3.99 acre portion of his 19.61 acre property from A2 to AR to allow the tract to be split off for a home site for his brother, which is Dennis. The property is located at 230 Allen Road in Danielsville on map 11, parcel 110 in District 1.
All right, Ms. Flint?
My name is Dennis Flint. The address of the property is 230 Allen Road. Just really looking to get over with my brothers. I have 3 brothers and a nephew that are on approximately 70 acres. My mom and dad had started originally. There's a small pond in the middle. We're blessed enough to be a close family, so my goal is just to get over there closer to my family. My brother David, with the 19.9 acres, I think I gave everyone a copy of that, has agreed to allow me, Ms. Tracy explained, I could only do 3.99 acres. And I went to Mr. Barry Lord, he drew me up that, he's a surveyor. You guys may be familiar with, Tracy suggested he's familiar with this property. And he drew me up an easement, and he said he would do this because it will be under 1,500 feet, I believe. And he explained that it would stay on one of my brother's property. It wouldn't cross 2 properties. I'd like to have my own driveway. I can be very flexible if you guys prefer I put it somewhere else, but my preference is to have my own driveway that goes back to my property. Just open it up to you guys for questions.
Okay, I have one.
Yes, sir.
I was over there the other day, this is quite a ways back in there.
Yes,
I
sir.
didn't know if I was supposed to go back in there.
You're welcome to come back.
But it's quite a ways back in there. Is that a private drive, or is that just?
Yes, sir. It's a private drive that goes back to my brother Bobby's house and my brother David's house. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Now, is it yours on the right?
My property?
You're the house.
I don't have a house. No, sir. My goal is to get this rezoned so I can build a house over there on the
I'm
property.
sorry.
Yes, sir. No.
I was just trying to place myself on the map, I'm sorry.
Oh, yes, sir. It's very confusing. Tracy and I had to kind of, it's been split and adjusted since my mom and dad passed.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So the easement, will the easement be used to access more than just your property? Will it be used to access any of the other property?
No, sir. The easement I'm wanting will just be for my, yes, sir, will just be for my brother. There's another driveway that'll run separately that goes to my brother's, but I'd like to have my own driveway that accesses directly to my property.
So since I talked to you, you decide you're gonna do your self-driving?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
Did I not explain that way?
No, you said you were gonna try to use the same easement, but, because everybody else had their own easement.
Oh, yes, ma'am. I probably got you all. No, ma'am. What I'd like, what my preference is, I'm very flexible. I don't mind how I do it. But my preference would be my own driveway to maintain that runs.
So where was that gonna?
It would be on the map there, running right on Rick's property, where theirs goes back to that middle section.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Theirs runs back to there and then back on further to Jake's. I'd like to go to the right.
Right.
Directly to my property,
Uh-huh.
keeping it under 1,500, I believe. I think
So the road I went up,
that's a different driveway. Yes,
it's gonna
ma'am.
be a totally different route.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh.
Yes, ma'am. But I'm very flexible, Miss Cindy. If you guys have another, suggestion or an area that would make more sense.
Oh, no, I just thought you were gonna, because everybody else had the same easement, I thought you were gonna use off of that one.
No.
Okay. So
I'd like to have my own,
Okay.
yes, ma'am, and my own driveway to maintain
Oh,
and everything.
Well, I think that'll fit in, because there's a lot of discussion about easements, so having your own is probably better. Any other questions for Mr. Flint? Thank you, Mr. Flint.
Yes, sir.
At this point, we will open up the public hearing. Is there anyone here that would like to speak for, Mr. Flint's request to rezone the 3.99 acre portion of his 19.61 acre property from A2 to R. AR, sorry. Anyone here wants to speak for it? Anyone here wants to speak in opposition? Anyone here wants to speak in opposition? Hearing none, bring it back to the board for a motion.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I move your approval.
Do I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Gandy, and a second by Kenneth. And, this request be approved. Start with me, yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Flint, it has been approved by this board. We will present it to the Board of Commissioners, on March the 6th, for a second public hearing. You're welcome to come, you don't have to, but there may be questions that I can't answer, so, I would suggest that you do.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
All right, Ms. Tracy.
Okay, next up is the rezone request for Deborah Moss. She is requesting to rezone a 3-acre portion of her property from A2 to AR to allow it to be split off for a home site for her daughter. This property is located at 745 Dove Drake Road in Royston on map 89, parcel 12 in District 4. And as you'll remember, this is the second step of the 2-step rezone process. And the ultimate end goal was to have this 3-acre portion cut off.
All right, Ms. Moss.
Hey, how are y'all?
You're
I'm
good.
Mom. This is my daughter, Leanna,
Yes.
and, I want to, break her off 3 acres so she can have a home there.
That's
Pretty
it.
much it.
Okay. All right, do we have any questions for, Ms. Moss? Any questions?
Will you have your own water source and septic system?
Already do, yes, sir.
You're getting close.
Yeah,
All right, well, thank you much.
thank you.
It's Leanna.
Can you spell your name? Leanna.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we will open up the public hearing. Is there anybody here that wants to speak in favor of this request? Anyone want to speak in favor? Hearing none, is there anyone want to speak in opposition? Hearing none, we'll bring it back to the board for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to request that we approve this.
Okay. We have a motion by Mr. Smith. Second by Cynthia. Any further comments or questions? If not, Lee.
Yes.
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 Cynthia?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right, Ms. Moss, this has been approved. Again, as I told the rest of them, the second public hearing will be, March 6th, right here in this room. You're welcome to come. You don't have to, but I recommend that all applicants be present so that, I won't be put on the spot.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, question number 7.
Okay, next up is, consider a rezone request, for Norma Garcia, and she is being represented by her husband, Juan Zacharias. She is requesting to rezone her 5.11 acre property from A2 to AR to bring the lawfully non-conforming property into compliance with current zoning regulations and to allow a second home to be built on the property for her son as an accessory dwelling unit. The property is located at 6791 Highway 29 South in Hull on map 30, parcel 143-03 in District 3.
Mr. Zacharias?
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Alright, so we have, these 5 acres that our family owns. We have more than enough space to create our own driveway, we have our own water source, and we have a septic tank. So the second house we'd like to build is for me. So essentially, I'm in college right now, I'm enrolled at UGA, and I'm a business major. So after college, my father would like to help me out, get on my feet, and, get a house. Because as well, I'm in a 4-year committed relationship, and I'd like to get married soon. So I just would really like the house, and especially how the market is set up, I think it's probably best for us to construct on our own property. So the house is for us.
Okay.
Can I get your name?
Osvaldo.
Can you spell that, please?
Osvaldo.
Osvaldo. And it's Zacharias.
Zacharias.
All right, thank you.
All right, any questions from the board?
I just wondering, when you come up to the house, beautiful house.
Thank you.
Oh, my God, did you build it?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
okay, when you come up, are the second dwelling gonna be to that right?
It's gonna be to the left of it. It's gonna be towards the back.
Oh, yeah, okay,
Yes, sir.
all right.
How about the driveway off of Highway 29? How will you access it to your piece of property?
On the left, we have more than enough space. We probably just split the fence right there and just create our own drive all the way to the back.
So she got to have how many feet? For that,
It's 150.
We're not splitting this. This is
Yeah, this is
accessory dwelling.
yeah, I'm straight, yeah, this is an
Oh.
accessory dwelling unit, right, not
So
accessory.
you're gonna have 3 entrances, because you have one that's closer to Athens, that looks like a service kind of, that goes to the back side of the house. Then you have the paved driveway, so you're talking about making a 3rd.
We could, yes.
so that's why I say you're saying that one's gonna be to the left. Your driveway's gonna be to the left of the main house.
Yeah, I mean,
Coming toward Danielsville?
Yeah.
I don't think we addressed how many drives you can have on the same parcel.
Sure.
So,
Just it being a state highway and school buses and those kind of things.
Oh,
I'm
it
not-
Yeah, you have to be a DOT approved. You have
oh,
to
it
get
is, yeah, I didn't realize it was a state highway.
Yeah, it's a state highway. That was my concern was, coming off of that highway, I guess you have to get approval from DOT.
I would assume, yeah, I'd just call the regional office of DOT to make sure.
Yeah, you have to get a
Or if not,
driveway
that was just a possibility. We could also use the same one that we have, the gravel one, the one to the right.
So you need an easement.
No.
Okay.
No, yeah, I mean,
There's no.
if it's okay with the DOT for you to have a separate one, it's okay with us.
Yeah.
So if you had to use one to the right, that means you'd have to go around the existing house to get to the property in the back.
Yeah, so until the time being, until you get approval for another one, that's the one you're gonna use.
Yes, sir.
What is the square footage of the large house and compared to the smaller, I guess, the accessory dwelling? What would be the square footage difference?
The principal dwelling has to be larger than the accessory dwelling. So his home could not be any larger than yours.
No, it's gonna be smaller, yes.
3739 is what the primary residence is listed with the county.
It's definitely a bit smaller.
So you understand it has to be smaller.
I wish it would be big, but.
You don't want it that big.
By the way, I think they were supposed to come before us prior to this.
Right.
And, we want to let you know that, I think he had some problems, death in the family or something.
Yes.
We give you our condolences for that,
Yeah.
So,
How close will the residence be to the property? There's 2 different property lines, the back property as well as the side. How close will you be to the property line?
Up to 100 feet.
That's 100 feet.
Yeah.
So like Mr. Smith said, this is not a split, so I guess,
When they go to pull permits, I mean, that's what they're gonna check to make sure the setbacks and everything like that are gonna be, you know.
Yeah, there'll be setbacks from the property lines, not from the other house.
Right, yes.
okay, any further questions? Thank you, Joe. All right, we will open up a public hearing there. Is there anyone here who wants to speak in favor of this rezone request? Anyone here wants to speak in favor? Hearing none, anyone here wants to speak in opposition? Anyone want to speak in opposition? With that, I'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the board. We'll entertain a motion.
Well, I make a motion that I recommend that we approve this request.
All right, we have a motion by Cynthia, second by Bruce, that this rezone request be approved. Any further questions or discussion? Not, William?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Zacharias, this is approved. Again, this will be presented to the Board of Commissioners on March the 6th. We ask that you be present. You don't have to be, but we ask that you do, in case there's some questions that we can't answer. All right, thank you very much. All right, Tracy, last on the agenda.
All right, next up is to consider amending the zoning ordinance to delete section 11.1.4, the administrative approval.
Okay.
This was the information in the packets, that, Mike had said that, due to some state laws changing, we needed to delete that section by July, I believe it was.
July 1, so this is a bill that was passed in the last legislative session. It's effective July 1 this year. And it's aimed at when powers are delegated to staff or staff level sorts of things, or even to the planning commission for that matter. The only thing we have like that is this administrative approval. So we have two choices. We can comply with all of these new requirements to keep it at the staff level, or we can just delete it. And in talking to Christopher, it's very rarely been used, if at all, anyway. And it doesn't change. People can still get the same variances they could before. There's just not, they'll have to come to you and then the board of commissioners for all of them now, if this is deleted.
Right, is that clear? Everyone? All right, I guess we have to have a public hearing on this also.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Anyone here wants to speak for this change, or this deletion, amending the zoning ordinance? Hearing none, is there anyone here wants to speak in opposition? Hearing none, I'll bring it back to the board for a motion. I'll make a motion that we approve, consider amending the zoning ordinance to delete section 11.1.4, administrative approval.
Second.
Moved by Lord Scott, second by Lee, that we approve deleting 11.1.4 this ordinance. We're ready to vote. Cynthia?
Yes.
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 Yes. Approved. Anything else for the good of the board tonight?
Nothing on the agenda.
No mention, anybody got any words of wisdom?
About balloons, you're not gonna be launching any, balloons.
You know, honestly, that thought never even crossed my mind. And the answer is no, definitely no.
Okay. If not, I will declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We got through this.
Do we have a second on that motion, sir? We normally get a second. All right. I did. Yeah, I said everything.
All right.
I don't know who that is.
Well, you have to come do it. There will be a place on the agenda for it anyway. Unless you try to do it. Which
I don't look like that no more. Is that
Right.
what you're saying? I don't look like that no more.
Maybe I don't look like mine.
No, I didn't have to.
I didn't have.
I know,
I'm
right?
pretty probably challenged.
Back and forth, back and forth.
Oh, I found out.
Okay.
I don't know.
You'd be surprised.
That's
If I got like you.
I mean, I'm just waiting for Amazon to see
Oh,
private
okay.
Yeah, with the,
strip, you know.
CDT.
I know, right?
I mean, it's, you
You
know.
got that same presentation last time.
That's the kind of
Oh,
power.
yeah. And he condensed it this
Yeah,
time.
good.
He said, he come in, he said, I gotta condense
Them other
it.
folks.
And that was good because,
You-
you know, it got the point across, and we got it all, and it's shorter time, so
Bruce,
we are doing good.
how is,
William, we flip that green switch back there on the wall.
Yes, ma'am.